It didn't happen because I lost my job or made a big mistake. It happened quietly, almost without me noticing. One afternoon, I looked at my grocery receipt and felt my stomach drop. 2 bags of food had cost over $150. I wasn't buying fancy stuff either, just normal things like eggs, bread, and some fruit. That's when it hit me. Life was getting more expensive, fast. Prices were climbing everywhere: food, gas, even my basic internet bill. My salary hadn't changed, but everything else had. It wasn't a full-blown emergency yet, but it felt like standing at the edge of one. I realized I had 2 choices. I could wait until things got worse and panic later, or I could make small changes now and stay ahead. I didn't want to feel stressed every time I opened my bank app. I wanted breathing room, not fear. But here's the thing, I didn't want to feel like I was punishing myself either. I love good food. I enjoy little treats. I didn't want to live like a monk just to survive. So, I made a promise. I would find a way to cut my expenses without feeling miserable. Number 1. The golden rule I created. Spending should feel like voting. One night, while scrolling through my bank transactions, I noticed something strange. Most of the things I spent money on didn't even make me happy. It felt like I was just spending without thinking. That's when I came up with a simple rule. Every dollar I spend is like casting a vote for the life I want. If I spent money on junk food I didn't even like, I was voting for a life of feeling tired and broke. If I spent money on things that made me better, like healthy meals, books, or real experiences, I was voting for a life I actually wanted. This small mindset shift changed everything. I stopped feeling guilty about spending. Instead, I felt proud when I spent on things that truly mattered to me. It wasn't about spending less. It was about spending better. Number 2. Quick wins that made a big difference and didn't feel awful. When people talk about saving money, it usually sounds painful, like giving up everything fun. But I didn't want that. I wanted changes that felt natural, even exciting. Here are a few quick wins that made a big difference without making me miserable. Swapping, not stopping. Instead of cutting out fun things completely, I found smarter swaps. I used to eat out 3 to 4 times a week. Instead of quitting cold turkey, I started hosting small dinner nights with friends at home. Everyone would bring one dish or a bottle of wine. Surprisingly, these nights were way more fun than noisy restaurants, and about 60% cheaper. I saved money and grew closer to my friends at the same time. Subscription stack attack. At one point, I had 7 different subscriptions running: Netflix, Spotify, Disney+, Audible, and more. Rather than canceling everything and feeling deprived, I made a rule: only 2 subscriptions at a time. Each season, I would switch depending on what I was enjoying. Netflix for cozy winter nights, Spotify for summer road trips. It made every subscription feel fresh again and saved me hundreds of dollars a year. Smarter grocery shopping using third store theory. Grocery shopping was eating a huge part of my budget. Instead of shopping at one fancy store out of habit, I started using what I now call the third store theory. Big box stores like Walmart for pantry staples like rice, pasta, and cleaning supplies. Local markets for fresh fruits and vegetables, cheaper and often better quality. Warehouse clubs like Costco for bulk items like coffee, meat, and toilet paper. By shopping smarter, I cut my grocery bill by about 28% without having to coupon like crazy or meal prep for 5 hours every Sunday. Each of these changes felt like an upgrade, not a downgrade. It wasn't about saying no to the things I loved, it was about saying yes to better, cheaper versions of them. And honestly, after a few weeks, I didn't even miss the old way of doing things. Number 3. The secret weapon: value-based budgeting. Before I started saving seriously, my idea of budgeting was just tracking what I spent. I thought if I knew where my money went, that was enough. Spoiler, it wasn't. I still felt broke at the end of every month, even though I wasn't buying anything crazy. That's when I learned about something called value-based budgeting, and it changed everything. Instead of trying to control every little dollar, I focused on my top 5 priorities, the things that mattered most to me. For me, it was health, career growth, relationships, hobbies, financial security. If a purchase didn't fit into one of these 5 areas, it went way down my list. I either spent way less on it or skipped it completely. For example, I realized I didn't actually care that much about designer clothes. I liked feeling good in what I wore, but I didn't need expensive labels. So I started buying good basics instead, saving a lot without feeling deprived. I also created something called a freedom fund, a small pot of money set aside just for random fun things. That way, if I wanted an unexpected treat, I could buy it guilt-free. No stress, no regret. The best part? This method felt freeing, not restricting. I wasn't budgeting to punish myself. I was making sure my money built the life I actually wanted. Number 4. Hidden areas where I found shocking savings. Some savings were obvious, like eating out less. But the biggest surprises came from places I never really thought about. Here's where I found hidden savings that made a real difference. Energy leaks. I used to think my power bill was just what it was. But after doing a little research, I found out my apartment had tiny energy leaks. Little things like air sneaking in through windows and old power strips wasting electricity. I bought a few cheap smart plugs, sealed up drafty doors with weather strips, and switched all my light bulbs to LED. Total cost? About $100. Savings? My energy bill dropped by 18% every single month. Plus, my apartment felt warmer in winter and cooler in summer. Win-win. Next, micro-insurance audit. One Saturday afternoon, I finally sat down to review all my insurance, something I had put off for years. Turns out I was overpaying. A lot. By bundling my car and renter's insurance with one company, I got a 15% discount. I also found out that some warranties I was paying for were already covered by my credit card for free. So I canceled the extra ones. Total savings, about $450 a year for just an hour of boring paperwork. Then, personal tech refresh. I love technology, but upgrading to the newest phone every year was burning a hole in my wallet. When my old phone died, I decided to try something new. I bought a mid-range smartphone instead of the latest top model. Guess what? 90% of the things I do, texting, photos, maps, felt exactly the same. And I saved almost $600 upfront. Now I upgrade when I need to, not just because a new one comes out. Finding these hidden savings felt like finding free money. And the best part? My life didn't feel smaller. It actually felt smarter. Number 5. The emotional curve, when cutting costs got weird. At first, cutting my expenses felt exciting, like a game I was winning. Every time I saved money, I felt proud. But after about 2 months, something strange happened. I started feeling a little trapped. Even though my life was better in many ways, part of me missed the old spending rush, the fun of buying something new without thinking. One night, after a long, stressful day, I almost blew my savings on a giant online shopping spree. Thankfully, I caught myself. Instead of giving up, I made a new rule: celebration purchases. Every time I hit a savings goal, I gave myself permission to buy a small, meaningful treat, like a fancy candle or a new book. It wasn't about being good all the time. It was about finding balance. Saving money is emotional, and that's completely normal. How the 30% saved was reinvested and changed everything. Instead of just letting my savings sit there, I decided to put the money to work. First, I started investing small amounts into an index fund every month, building wealth for my future without stressing about picking stocks. Next, I created a hobby fund and finally took guitar lessons, something I had always wanted to do. Lastly, I set up a mini travel fund for weekend getaways every few months. Saving that 30% didn't just make me feel safer. It made my life richer, more exciting, and full of real joy. Cutting my expenses by 30% taught me something I didn't expect. Saving money isn't just about numbers. It's about choosing the kind of life you want. I realized that true happiness doesn't come from having the newest gadgets or the biggest house. It comes from feeling free, having choices, and building a life that matches your real values. It's not about being cheap or missing out. It's about spending on what truly matters and letting go of the rest. Now, I feel calmer, more in control, and honestly, a lot happier. Money is no longer a constant worry. It's a tool I use to create a life I love. If you're thinking about making a change, start small. Even tiny shifts can add up to something amazing. Your future self will thank you. Want to learn how real people are building quiet wealth and achieving financial success? Then watch this video next. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel to see more content like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.